Good morning, folks. How are you? If you would be so kind as to let me know you can hear me, I will begin our little segment together. Just a simple tweet or a post to me, 5 by 5 would be sufficient enough. Let me know I can continue. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. So, obviously, you can call it what you want to call it. I just think they've had enough of us sharing stuff that works and being encouraged along the way. So, I just want to let you know this is going to be my last X space. I talked 2 hours last week, and I really wish I would have recorded it because it was really good. It was good. It was witty. It was some of my best material, and I can't even remember the majority of it. It was just I was in that state of mind where it was just good. I was impressed. That's saying something. Usually, I'll be real humble and say that everybody's better than me, and you know, I'm just kidding. I hope you're doing well today. Um, this week I've had a really bad episode of back spasms and pain. And yesterday I actually had a pretty good day, and I'm starting off with a day that could go either way. So I don't want to spend too much time on here today. But I appreciate your patience. I know some of you were sitting here waiting for a little bit, and I had to overcome some connection issues and also get my puppies in a situation where they won't bother me while we're talking or while I'm talking and you're listening. So usually when I do these things, it's usually when I wake up in the morning. I'm up before everybody else is, and some thought jumps in my head. Usually it's either a memory or it's something that will be a result of me reading someone's comment or question, or it may not even be directed to me. It's sometimes just a song. And I got up this morning and realized how cold it is, unseasonably cold. I'm not sure where you're at geographically, but here in Maryland, I'm like surprised to see how cold it is. It was 48 degrees when I posted that post this morning of the moon. And the song Colorblind by Counting Crows, which obviously you all know if you've been around for a little while. That's my favorite band. They have a song that's titled Colorblind. And as soon as I seen the moon this morning, I was like, the lyrics came to mind. I am folded and unfolded and unfolding. And the continuation of that is, I am colorblind. And at first I didn't understand why it jumped in my head. Like I was like, I love that song. I love it. It was used in a movie with Reese Witherspoon and her first husband. And Cruel Intentions, I think is what it was. One of the movies my wife and I saw when we were younger. And, one of those rom-com type things. And I thought it was an excellent use of the song. But what does it mean to me? What did it jump in my head for? Initially, I don't know. And that's usually what happens with these spaces and the X spaces, and when it used to be called Twitter, when I used to do Twitter spaces, some of the titles would come to mind out of the weirdest ways. And some of them, looking back, I can think to myself, like, wow, they're intriguing titles. They make me want to ask this person, if it wasn't myself, what does that mean? Where'd that come from? I want to apply it to, because this is how it was given to me, because I questioned myself, why would I think that? Why did that thought jump in my head? And obviously you're here because you're listening to me, hopefully that I will let you know something from my own experience, let something slip from the black munitions bag of market making. And I think that it's very much applicable to us as traders when we're developing. When you're brand new and you don't really know who you are as a trader, you don't know what you're looking to do, you don't know how to engage price action. It's something much like a love letter. Remember when we were in grade school and you saw that cute girl in the class and she just literally drove you crazy, or that cute little boy, for those that are in the listening audience that have a deference to that? I was much like that. I was romantic as a little boy, but shy, so shy. It was crazy. But the few times that I did have the proverbial girlfriend, which never went past maybe a holding of the hand behind the desk, never even kissed. In grade school, you don't know anything. So imagine that moment when you first got that first love letter folded up, and it's in her hand or his hand getting ready to pass it to you, and that excitement. Like, I can't wait. I can't wait to see what they wrote to me. What do they feel so special that they want to give this to me? Because they could have waited. They could have waited to lunch break or boarding the bus going home, catch me outside and say, hey, I want to tell you something, or I want to ask you something. No, this is special. And it's so special, I'm going to write it down and fold it up and secretly pass it on to you. That's what it's like when we first start. We have a romantic view of what it's going to be like doing this. It's going to be profitable. I'm going to feel better about myself because I'm going to be in a position where I can make money, where I'm not ashamed of where I work, where I came from, my pedigree, what I did in the past can be sponged away because now I am on the straight and narrow and I can make lots of money. I can make my own way. I don't need to have to worry about losing my job. That's what it's like, that romanticism that we have when we first start going into this. We see someone that inspires us. Maybe it's a number of people, but it can be narrowed down to one person that everybody gets inspired by. And it's not always the same person. And then we get involved with the process. And that's the real relationship. But we don't want to have that relationship. That's the long-term committed relationship that has to have the ups and downs, the ebb and flow of, hey, it's not always going to be perfect, but I still feel this is valuable and I'm home right where I'm at. This is exactly what I'm supposed to be feeling right now. This is normal for me. And that's that love letter that started to be unfolded. That excitement where you see one or two lines, one or two words, maybe a little heart as the page opens up. And you can't read it yet, but you see a glimpse. First, you're folded. You don't know what's inside. You're excited. And then you start doing it. The excitement builds and builds and builds. And it's also somewhat of a little bit of a scary feeling. What happens if it all stops working? What if this letter is to tell me they no longer like me and they like the little boy or little girl behind them in the next row? I'm going to hate that person now. I'm going to do everything I can to make their life miserable if she likes or he likes someone else besides me. And you think about it, that's what this community, this industry in social media, we contend with that. The jealousy of, I want you to like me, not them, not him, not her. And I'm gonna bother you constantly. I'm gonna punish you constantly because you don't like me as much as you like that one. And the politics and the garbage that goes on that has nothing to do with trading. Nobody gets into trading to say, I want to be the biggest troll in trading. I want to be the biggest face, the biggest hero representative, the ambassador of Straight and Narrow Trading Incorporated. That's not what anybody does when they first start doing this. They want to make money. They want to do well. They want to have fun, hopefully, while doing it, and survive and stay solvent enough to be successful. And who knows how far and how broad the success could be. But the process, that's the real romance. Sticking to a set of rules, adhering to them, shunning all of the distractions, pushing aside all of the bullshit, all the things that have nothing to do with the open, high, low, and close. And it's wonderful as a distraction when you're not doing well, when you're starting to second guess yourself, when the markets get a little bit harder than they have been in the past. It's very, very easy to say, well, I'm uncomfortable in my own skin right now, so I need to be distracted. So what's going on social media? Let me go on there and see who's the target today. Who are they beating up on today? Who's being made fun of today? Because if I can look at that and find pleasure in someone else's misery, their embarrassment, if they can distract me from my own pain and suffering because I'm not doing as well as I was hoping I was going to do this week, this month, this quarter, this year, then it won't be so painful for me. I will be able to look at someone else's relationship that's failing, that romanticism that's falling apart and fizzling out and melting in front of everybody, and all the turmoil that comes along with it. That will be a wonderful distraction from my own misery. And that's all part of the process, too. The best traders, the better traders, they're the ones that don't do those types of things. They don't concern themselves with stuff like that. They focus on the markets. They focus on their P&L. They focus on their equity curve. They focus on their mindset. They adhere to their process. And they know it's not going to work every single time. They know that. You knew it when you came into this. You want to say, hey, well, I'm going to be really successful and I'm going to have a system. I'm going to develop a system. I'm going to copy somebody's system. I'm going to buy a system. I'm going to learn the system. I'm going to do something that some guy, some rock star trader, female, male, whatever it is. I'm going to do what they're doing. And I'm not going to tell anybody that's what I'm doing, but I'm going to show my friends and family that this is what I do. And if the person that they're copying just packs it up, takes down their tent, moves on to a different town, city, and never has any access to that person ever again, they no longer have any success. That's their process. But that process, copying someone else, leaning on someone else's logic, being a part of someone's community that only has a life cycle so long. Eventually, the person that participates in things like that either outgrows it or the person that operates it goes into a tailspin like anybody else will. You're going to have a period of drawdown. You're going to have a period of losing trades. You're just not going to be firing on all cylinders. You're going to be struggling. And that's normal. That's normal. Just like it feels normal to be scared and excited when that love letter starts to unfold. And then finally, it's unfolded. You can see every line. You can see every punctuation, every typo, misspelled word, every little doodle, little heart, little underlined, maybe a change in the color of the pen just to accentuate the emphasis of, I really think you're cute. I really think you're cool. I'm so glad we're boyfriend and girlfriend. That warm and fuzzy feeling. And you get to that point by first having a goal. I want to do this. It's exciting. It's romantic. I want to be this person I've imagined I can be. And you go through the process of managing yourself, filtering out the bullshit, filtering out everything that would be a distraction, That might be people in your family. That might be friends, coworkers, especially people on social media. As an influencer, as a content creator, as an educator, I have to come up with ways many times to get your attention. Getting your attention is easy. Holding your attention is altogether something more complex. Some of you listening to this that are hardcore, like give me some trading stuff, you're already bored with it. You probably say, well, I'll come back to this later on. I'll read the comments and see what anybody says. And then if it's interesting enough, I'll listen to it. I actually blocked someone this morning when I posted this. Person said something to the effect that, I wonder what this is going to teach me. Is it going to be worth my time? Well, I'll save you time. Block. That's the kind of garbage that social media invites. Why would you feel inspired to write that? Is it going to be worth my time? How about this? Is it worth my time to talk to any of you? I'm not getting paid to do this. Because that's the real question. Is it worth my time? My time that I'm sharing, or my personal time that's not monetized. And I'm inviting all of you to monetize the production of these things. That is the ass backwards mentality that social media invites. Every dumbass gets the opportunity to come out and think that their opinion matters. And you have to wade through all that bullshit to find people that are sincere. There's some of them out there. There's not a lot of them, but there's some of them out there. And if I didn't have all the twists and turns and plot cliffhangers that I put in, I would be rather boring. And you really wouldn't want to listen to me. So I create all these little sub stories, these little twists in the plot, and I storytell. And I hold your attention long enough to let you experience what it feels like to hold that love letter that I've passed to you without the teacher seeing, without the other people in the classroom noticing. I'm passing that to you every time I sit down with you. That's something I wrote just for you. It's not meant for everybody on social media. It's only meant for those that are the recipient, the intended reader. And that's you, the person that's showing up every day, the person that has excitement about who they're becoming. That's the romance. And the process is what I've taught. The PD arrays, the process of understanding where the high and low forms. How will the high and low form? What's the narrative? How do you find the narrative? How do you get from being offside and get in sync with the narrative? Because sometimes you'll do it wrong. That's what my love letter is to you. I wrote these things for you, so that way you can experience these things and to be encouraged, because I think you're going to be an amazing trader. So you go from a state of being folded, guarded, you don't know what you're going to become, but you know you want to be something better than what you are right now when you first start. And I have students that were very, very shy, never wanted to be any kind of a public figure at all, wanted to be a trader, struggled a lot, put a lot of time and effort into it, and now they're rich. They're millionaires, and they're able to do this without, if I never spoke another word, if they've never watched another episode of anything I've ever produced, it won't matter to them. At the end of these love letters that I write to all of you, I always put in there, P.S. I hope one day you don't need me anymore. Now imagine if your significant other wrote that to you. That would feel misplaced, wouldn't it? Like you would question, what is this even being placed in here for? You wrote me a love letter. You told me how much you care about me. You poured all your time and energy into me, and you even gave me encouragement through this letter. But at the end of it, you put PS. I hope there comes a time when you no longer need me. I hope there's going to be a day that you wake up and you say, you know what? I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And at the end of the day, you lay down your head and you go to sleep and you never even thought of me because you arrived. That's what I want from you. That's what I want for you. From a position of being folded, unfolding, unfolded. And the only way you find that in trading is to be colorblind. What does that mean? Well, when you trade and you're in profit, we say we closed in the black. I'm in the black column. If you lose, well, you're in the red column. When you're following a process, when you take the expectation, the necessity for the outcome to be a specific hue or color, I only want it to be a black outcome. I don't want to see a losing trade. I don't want to have a red day. It's uncanny. The harder you try, the harder you resist losing money, the easier it is for you to lose money. It's something I've never been able to understand, but it's a truism. And everybody that makes money consistently will tell you one of the things that they graduated to is a state of thinking and mindset that the outcome is not necessary for them. Wait a minute, how could that possibly be relevant to trading? Because isn't it our goal, our task, our job is to make money? So shouldn't it be in our best interest to be guarded about not losing money and only focusing on making money? Well, in the beginning, that's what everybody starts with until they have their first losing trade and they go into a thermonuclear meltdown and they think the whole world's ending because they lost $50. And I'm not making fun of people that lose a little bit of money, and I'm not looking down on you because if I took you back to the very first time I put on my first trade, I was scared to death. I was afraid. And when they took half of it while I slept, I felt like I got robbed. I felt like I came home and my house was emptied. My cars were taken from me. All these things happened just in one night's sleep, which was not even a good night's sleep. I had the expectation the outcome had to be positive for me. I couldn't even see it losing. Now that's blissful ignorance. That's what it feels like when you're trading with a demo account. Oh, I'm going to push the button here and we'll see what happens. That's right. We will see what happens in a chemical reaction between your ears because what's happening on your demo screen and the results are nothing. It's nothing. But you attribute that to success or failure on an individual transactional basis. That means every one trade tells the story of your success or failure as a trader. Now, you may not have ever noticed that is your scorecard, your progress report, your personal reflection of self-worth and value. Every trade has to be a winner. Otherwise, I'm not elite. Otherwise, I'm not worthy to talk amongst these individuals that are pretending to be profitable online. I don't want to be called out by anybody. Because what happens if they ask me, show me your stats for today? What will I do? What will I say? I had a drawdown in the morning, and normally I wouldn't want to take another trade because I'm in a losing position for the day. I don't want to risk anymore, but now I have to do it because I know this guy's going to pop up online sooner or later. He's going to wake up in his part of the world and he's going to ask. He's going to come right to me. He's going to at me. What did you do today? Here's my trade today. What did you do? None of that matters. Or none of that matters. If you didn't push the button on that trade that someone else is showing you, what difference does it make what they made or lost? Really? How does that communicate to you anything that's applicable to making your bottom line, your bank statement balance go up or down? It has nothing to do with it. But social media has tricked the majority of you into thinking that someone else's experiences equates to your experiences. I rub elbows with really successful traders online. I'm in so and so's community. I'm chartered. Like that somehow makes your ass smell like roses. It doesn't. Nobody gives a shit if you're a charter student of mine. Nobody really gives a shit at all. Anybody that's watching anyone else, it's one of two reasons. There's value there, and they're there to mine it. Get what they get, glean what they can pick up, and take home what's useful to them. Or they're there like a spectator watching a train wreck. You can't look away. You can't look away. You see it unfolding in front of you. You're there as a spectator. You're watching it. In trading, you need to guard yourself from stuff like that and only focus on what your process is. Are you doing what your model suggests you should be doing? Are you focusing on the things that your model suggests that you should be focusing on only? If you have time, energy, and concern to worry about what everyone else is talking about in social media, and you're not consistently profitable, you're the mark. You're the loser. You're the person that's wasting your time. The highest performance athletes, the highest earning individuals in the finance world, they're not on social media worrying about who's getting talked about. They're not doing that. They're not keeping up with the Joneses like that. They have their head down in their own books, doing what they need to do. They're keeping their attention on themselves. And that's not selfishness. That's focus. That's what you have to do well. And you feel dirty when you hang around the individuals that only talk smack, only talk garbage, and they don't really do anything except for exhibitionism. It's just showing you what they're doing, whether right or wrong, making fun of this one, making fun of that one. What does that got to do with trading? Like, really, what does that have to do with anything? It has nothing to do with it. But it works. It's the perfect distraction when you're in a state of mind where you just want to be distracted from the misery that you're feeling because you have not yet arrived or you did something outside of your model. You didn't follow your own process. The thing that you sat down and said, this is what I'm going to do on this day. If price does this at this time, I'm going to do this and I'm going to avoid doing the other thing. And I'm only going to risk X% of my equity for any one trade. When you blow that and only you know about it, if you're weak, and there's nothing wrong with admitting that you're weak, because this is hard stuff to do, folks. It's very, very hard. It's complex. You have to beat the most formidable opponent that you'll ever meet. It's you. You're going to hold yourself back. You're going to prevent yourself from finding success as fast as you would really want to find it. It's nobody else's fault that you didn't arrive there sooner, but your own. It's just your fault. There's no escaping it in this industry. Anything that you want to try to attribute to the outcome when it's not in favorable column, the black column, all of the individuals, and I did this when I first started, when I was weak-minded, when I didn't want to own the personal responsibility of my own actions and decisions, I wanted to fault anything and anyone outside of me. I didn't want to admit that I did that wrong. I did that wrong. As soon as I started feeling that, man, that so and so Ken Roberts garbage. Well, to be honest with you, I've already said before, his course was pretty stupid, but it did get my gears turning. I'm thinking, well, if I can make $1,000 a month, I could retire when I'm 40. I just got to find a way to do that. And that was my goal back in 1992. I wanted to make $1,000 a month. And if I hit that, I'm winning. But you're not always going to be feeling like you're on the right path. And you need to be colorblind to the outcome. That means when you put a trade on and you're trusting your model, you don't know. You don't know, folks. You do not know the outcome of your next trade. You don't. And to be quite honest with you, in the current climate setting and the way the markets are moving around, I'm not as confident as I normally was because there's so much intervention going on. A goofball makes a post about another country having to pay or not pay as much. Immediately, they're going to rip the market. He ain't doing it. He's not doing it. Okay. Your favorite hated 45 and 47. you're not you're not understanding how this really works because he isn't making the market move around. But they know at the peak of this individual's posts, it causes sentiment disruption. So whatever was going on in the markets in the state of thinking before some kind of a post gets sent to the social media, it's disrupted. That's manual intervention. They'll step in. All right, let's rip the market this direction or that direction. A lot of times it's happening as I teach, but sometimes it ain't. And admittedly, there's been opportunities where I wish I would have been awake. I wish I would have been in there doing it because it made sense to be doing that. And a few times in the last month or so, I'm thankful that I didn't even trade. I'm like, wow, that would have been a losing trade. I'm colorblind to the outcome of trades. I don't need it to be a black. I don't need it to be a small red. I don't need to avoid a red outcome. Losing trades, not worried about it. It's going to come. If I keep pushing the button, if I go in there and keep doing what it is that we do as traders, eventually it will come. But in the beginning, you want to avoid it entirely. You want to avoid the breakup. You want to avoid the divorce, and you never got married yet. It's funny how it's like we try to imagine walking on eggshells, never expecting it to ever hear a crack. It's impossible. When you're learning how to do this, you're going to lose a lot. And you need to be comfortable doing that in the beginning. You want to lose a whole lot in the beginning because that's going to teach you a whole lot about yourself. That the things that you're trying to hide from yourself, that you walk through this world with, hiding under your own skin. I'm glad these people don't really know my real self, my insecurities, the things that I'm afraid of. See, I'm not afraid to tell you those things. I'm not afraid to tell you that. I'm not afraid to weep in the presence of my own students. And I had students literally write to me in hateful emails saying, what a lunatic. Who wants to hear their mentor crying? Um, I would love to know that the person I'm learning from has a sense of humility and vulnerability and honesty to come forward and say, this is where I hurt myself. And I don't want you to experience that either. I want to spare you all these things that I put myself through, thinking at the time this is the right way. And I know now it wasn't. It would never be the right way for anyone else's hands to try that same approach. It would never work out. So when I go through that and I tap into those old memories, those experiences, those mile markers. And in the past, I have wept. I'm not ashamed of that. People used to make fun of that. Some people still do. These same people that make fun of it, they don't ever have their heart into anything 100%. I lived and breathed these markets, and I needed to succeed. I didn't just want it. I had to, because I couldn't function being mundane, run of the mill, cut from the same cloth as my family. I couldn't do it. So I set out to do what I had to do and sacrificed everything. And now I know, looking back, there's a better way of having done it. I could have been a better dad. I could have been a better husband. Could have been a better friend. I could have been better to myself. But when you don't have anybody telling you how to get where I got, you got to trailblaze. And sometimes you're going to singe your clothes, burn the hairs off your arms, and you may even get sunburned ass because you standing too long in one spot when you're on a trailblazing event. You're going to get burnt. But you got to keep moving forward. Scorch the earth. Find a pathway by your own experience. And that's what I did. And a lot of you have the benefit of being able to walk in that scorched path behind me now. And some of you just want to play with matches and start your own little fires along the way because you want to feel like you made something. You improved on something I taught. And this is where the ego is going to come out because none of you are going to improve on what I did. So you're wasting your time. You may want to change the name of something. You may want to say, well, I do this and do this because I was inspired by ICT. Stop. Just stop. Stop. You're doing the things that we started this conversation about. No one has asked you. No one asked me to become ICT. No one asked me to do that. And nobody's asking you to be the next version of him. Because honestly, nobody really gives a shit about me. They don't care about ICT. They don't care. 99.99999% of you only give a shit about what I'm going to say next because you either want to learn how to use it to make money and get to a point where I don't need to listen to this guy anymore. And that's exactly what I want from you. Some of you are afraid to admit it, like it's going to be offensive to me if you say that. That's exactly what I want. I want all of my students to get profitable, know exactly what they're doing, and say, au revoir, I got to go. See you later. It's been fun. It's been real. I got what I was looking for. It's not like eating and running, dining and dashing. I'm not going to chase you down the street and ask you, give me my just due. You owe me. I gave you something of value. You didn't give me anything. Think about it. I'm talking to you right now in a medium that I'm not making money on. I want you to do well. I want you to do better than you've ever imagined. But I'm not trying to inspire you to be something that you can't be. You're not going to improve on what it is I'm teaching you. And I mean that wholeheartedly because it is the market. You're going to discover something that works in your hands. But some of you just are set out to be, I just want to be a celebrity. You don't really want to be a trader. You've already tasted it. It's hard. You just want to be someone that looks like they do it well all the time. That's a trap. That is a trap. And some of you are going to fall victim to those individuals that's trying to do those things. They're going to sell mentorships. They're going to sell community access. They're going to sell courses, write books. They're all going to write books when mine come out. Trust me when I tell you that. Everybody's going to be sampling that. And that's okay. I understand that's what's going to happen. I understand that. But I'm talking to the individual that is excited. They know I'm holding that love letter in my hand. I'm ready to pass it on to you again. And everybody else in the room, even the teacher, doesn't exist. Do you remember that moment? Do you remember that moment when you knew your focus and your attention was only dialed in on what? Their hand and what they're holding. You can't wait until you get that little piece of paper in your hand. Even if the teacher asked for it, you would say, no. Send me to the office. I don't care. This is none of your business. That anticipation, that spirit of expectation, it's high. That's who I'm talking to. Because you have invested intention, time, focus, and you have a vision of yourself. And I'm just reminding you that in any relationship, every relationship, there's good times and there's bad times. And you can't go into a marriage with the marketplace and expect that you're not going to have red days. You got to be colorblind to the outcome by focusing on the process, focusing on the things that you are learning to apply as your own model. That is the thing that is the most important. It's not the opinion of others listening. It's not the opinion of what they think your trade should have been. Why didn't you hold on to it longer? It's none of your damn business. Why didn't you take this trade? It's none of your damn business. Why do you feel entitled to ask anybody why they did or didn't do anything? Nobody owes you anything. And you don't owe anybody else anything either. Wasting time on any of that stuff. Stupid. I'm turning 53. I can look back and see how I wasted a shit ton of my own personal time. Well, I wish I could get it all back, or a fraction of it. And you're out here worrying about what people are buying and driving and what they have, what they earn. Come on. Come on. You're paying attention to the other students and the teacher, what he's writing on the chalkboard, instead of waiting for that hand to reach out so you can take that love letter. Who's really focused on the right things? Where's your heart? If it's meant for you to be a good trader, you're going to work for it. If you know deep down inside, and many of you do, this ain't for you. You're dabbling. It's like watching football and thinking, man, I used to play football and sports. I was sitting on the bench most of the time, but I was a part of the team, and I should have got a chance to get in the NFL. That's not going to ever happen. It never would have happened. But you lie to yourself. A lot of you are going to never make it in this market because you're not equipped to do it. You don't really care enough to keep working for it. You want it easy. And I told you in the beginning, it ain't going to be easy. It's going to take you longer than you want. And the right outcome is you're going to learn how to do it well, and then you're not going to listen to me or anyone else. That doesn't sound natural. I want to stay in connection with you, coach. No, I don't want you to be. I don't want you to be tethered to me. You need to be colorblind. The outcomes, they're not important on an individual basis. And I just wanted to spend a couple minutes today to remind you that. That's it. We're done.